Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And I'm back with another movie review. So this movie was brought to me by Lifetime, and it was executive produced by Mary J. Blige herself. So this movie is called Real Love, which is based off of Mary J. Blige's song Real Love turned into a movie. So it stars Ajana Alexis and Da Vinci. So Kendra, she's going off to college, going to Hammond University, and her dad and sister are dropping her off to check into her dorm or whatever. After they got her settled in, her dad and her are leaving to go say bye to her sister and I think her nephew. And as she's being stopped, as she's walking, she's being stopped by this dude. His name is Reg. And he gives her a flyer to attend this party. And she was like, I'll think about it. So after they leave, her dad was like, this is how I met your mom at a college party. And she was like, yeah, but I got more stuff time to focus on. So they get to the car. And Kendra was saying something. No, her sister Sasha said something to her. And I guess telling her to live a little, whatever. And she was like, listen, I'm not the one who decided to get pregnant at a young age. And then her sister was like, no, don't worry about it. Because I guess she was trying to give her nephew a hug. And she was like, no, I'm good. You good. So Kendra shrugged it off, gave her dad a hug, and was like, yeah, I'll see y'all. And that was it. She went back to her dorm room and, got ready. So now they're outside in the quad, I guess having an orientation meeting with her friends. Terry and Ashley, and they're sitting down talking. So this dude comes up out of nowhere and he introduces himself as Benjamin, or Ben for short. And he was like trying to talk to them, and Terry was like interrupting, and Ben was like, no, I'm trying to talk to her. What's her name? And she was like, I don't have a name. There was like Kendra. So he was like, my friend tried to bet me to talk to you or whatever because I'm pledging whatever. And then she turned back and she sees Reg with his other friends. So she was like, So after they finished having a few moments of speaking, Ben went back to his boys, and she turns around and she looks at him and he's looking at her, and it's like, So after that what the heck you call it? Interaction, she goes to her office so she could apply for work study. And then the lady at the office trying to tell her, like, listen, you cannot do that. But she was like, I already spoke to someone. They was like, I had to do work study because my full scholarship doesn't cover everything. So that would be cool. So well, you go down to this office. Well, sit right here real quick while I ask the question. So as she's sitting down at the desk, or at the table rather, in walks Ben, and he was like, listen, I gotta do this class. And she was like, listen, you knew you had to do deadline things. He was like, well, I'm sorry. So she ended up talking to him and whatever. And she was asking him questions like, what do you really want to do? And he was like, listen, my mom and dad wants me to be pre-law because that's just what they do. He was like, well, I don't really have a passion for that, but So she's like, so what do you really want to do? He was like, well, I don't know as of yet, but I'll figure it out. And she starts telling him how she does photography and stuff like that and all that. So eventually the lady calls her back and tells her to go to this room, and she gets to leave. She's like, listen, you can do whatever you want to do. And that was it. And she left. So as he's sitting there, he ends up writing intro to photography. Come to find out, he's in her class. So she's in the classroom or whatever. He ends up coming in late. And then them two sit down to each other, starts talking while the teacher is talking. And then she gets up to him. She was like, am I boring you? She was like, oops. So right after that, the teacher assigns them an assignment to get a picture that moves them. And, she does that. She's like, okay, so now she got to find ways to get back into the professor's good graces. So later on that night, because I guess she missed the first week's party, so this week is another party. So Ben asked her, do you want to go to this party? And she was like, I don't feel like it, because her friends wanted to go too. And she was like, nah, I want to do a study so I can work for my test. Like, oh, please. So after that started the whirlwind romance between them. So she ended up going to the party with him. And Reg sees her and was like, why are you with him? Even though I tried to holler at you first. And she did not give him the time of day. He had that type of look on his face. I was just like, oh, wow. So after that, they get to the party while their friend Ashley was waiting for them. And, they all drift off, whatever. Ben ended up getting Kendra's son to drink. And just as they was outside doing something, this girl comes up to him, come to find out her name is Connie. She's been friends with Ben since they was in diapers. So their parents are like this. So, yeah, they basically hooking them up two together. So, Benjamin introduces Kendra to Connie, and Connie basically just played her off like whatever. So Kendra was like, come on. She pulled him away from her, and they went on the dance floor, started dancing. Next they having a good time or whatever. And then the police come. So everybody had to disperse or whatever. So Kendra and Ben ran off behind some bushes, and they see the cops looking and whatever. And they was like, Ben was like to Kendra, they should be gone in a few minutes. So just as they squatting down in the grass or whatever, Kendra, she decides to lean in to give Benjamin a kiss. And Benjamin did the same. So that right there started their whole relationship. So after that, they started spending more and more time together. Then she had to do her assignment. She had took a picture of a lamppost, and she sent it in for her teacher. Her teacher was like, oh, this is not a good assignment. So you need to go out and do something else. And she ended up taking pictures of some girls dancing at the party. And then she submitted that. And then her teacher was like, oh, that's great work. So then, she started doing good with that. Also, she started doing good with her work, started job cleaning the tables and stuff like that. So now Benjamin and Kendra are spending more time together, and they're actually liking it. Like, so far, so good. So now around this time, this is before Thanksgiving started, they started going out more. One occasion, they went out to this other party or whatnot, and yeah, they were just feeling each other. So Benjamin got invited to this Thanksgiving gala or something. Yeah, Thanksgiving gala. And he brought Kendra with him. And they sit down and having fun. No, it was just a regular gala, my bad. Sit down, start having fun. And there was Connie there. So basically the parents was asking Kendra, what does she do? She was like, oh, what they put her parents do. She said, well, my mom recently passed, and my dad, he works in sanitation, and I like photography. So they start talking or whatever, and they feel as if, Kendra's a bad look on Ben's social status or whatever the case may be. Connie also inserts herself to the table to talk or whatever. And you can tell she just has this nasty attitude towards her for no reason, whatever. So eventually, one of the waitress came over to pour something to drink, and he ended up dropping the towel. And Kendra picks it up, and it was like, oh, look at you doing really good help. She felt some type of way behind it, and she gets up and leaves to go to the restroom. And Ben was going to go follow behind her, but both his parents made him sit down. So after that, I guess Kendra went home. So later on, well, the next day, Benjamin goes to see Kendra, and he got to apologize for how things was going between the mom or whatever. So they ended up going to a few more parties and whatnot, having a good time. So now it's Thanksgiving. And Connie had made a comment while they was in school, like tell Ben when you see him that I'll see him at Thanksgiving. So now they made a comment about that. And she just so happens to, I guess, starts working her job, and she sees them together. And around this time, instead of, they decide to, give themselves space, because now she's starting to not focus on her schoolwork. So they end up giving each other space, and now he goes back with Connie. And while she's at her job working the concession stand, them two walk up with a piece of pie or whatever, and they try to pay for it. And Ben was like, listen, let's talk. So they eventually talk, and then somebody calls Kendra while she's at work and tells her, like, your dad's in the T calls her and tells her, listen, your dad's in the hospital. So she ends up getting off shift, and she got to figure out a way to get there. Ben decided to leave Connie where she was at, and he drives her to the hospital. So they're there, and he basically stayed with her that whole night to make sure that dad was okay with their sister Sasha, with her sister Sasha. And they're there for like a couple of days now, and just having just getting the updates on the father. They got some chips and stuff, and they just rock it out. So now it's been a few days. They head back to school, and yeah. So everybody was like, dang, this guy really spent the whole Thanksgiving break checking up on you and whatever. The dad was happy about that. So they get back into, doing their schoolwork and whatnot. I think around Christmas time or before Christmas. Because around this time, they already broke up. So, yeah. Kendra's focused more on her schoolwork. She decided to take Reg up on his offer of studying together because they got a few classes together. That she goes to his room and she thinks it's just studying, and he basically has an ulterior motive. Basically, he turns up his music and he rapes her. Now she starts spiraling out of control because she don't know how to take what really happened. She don't really know who to talk to. She basically cold shoulders her friends, Ben, everybody. She just starts acting totally different. She does her schoolwork or whatever. She decides to go back home to check up on her dad or whatever for Christmas break. And yeah, so the dad's okay. She finds out some pills. She finds some pills that I guess the dad or sister has, and she ends up start taking them because now she's spiraling out of control. And she don't know how to tell people what happened to her, so she rather just keep it to herself. And the thoughts is just having her go crazy. So now, by this time, she makes it back to campus. Her friend T tried to talk to her. She was just like, you can't just stay out of my business or whatever. So later on that night, she goes into the bathroom to try to take these pills. I'm not sure how many pills she took or whatnot, or she tried to. And she basically just breaks down because her friend finds her, hugs her, and she just starts crying. So now T and Ashley know what happened to her. And they go to this abuse rally outside the campus, and she's just crying. And there's a whole bunch of other girls that's like going through the same thing. And it's just like, wow, you didn't have to suffer this all alone. You could have just went and told. So now I think it's about almost New Year's time. And, Kendra finally apologizes to Ben for how she was acting to her friends or whatever. So now it makes sense. And they get back together. So they get back in good graces with each other. Everything is going good. Oh, around this time, they went to some more parties. I think around this time is midterms. And yeah, they got invited to this party because it was a weird way you had to get into, but somehow they got into it. And they start having a good time. And later on that night, Kendra went to Ben's dorm room, and I guess, they did. So now she also had midterms the next day. Come to find out, she overslept. She didn't get a chance to do her midterms that day. And then also her boss told her, like, listen, you got to stop doing all these hours or whatnot. And yeah, that was the whole reason behind their breakup, because of the midterms. She was the focus, and they kept partying and stuff like that. He was like, listen, you had a choice. Like, I didn't make you like go this. You could have said what you had to say. So basically, after that situation died down, whatever, New Year comes, the whole rapist stuff comes, they get back into good graces. And Kendra was telling Ben, like, I'm so sorry. Like, something happened to me over the break. And she tells him, but she doesn't tell him who the person was. So they at this party again. And just as Kendra and Ben are walking through, she sees Reg, and then she immediately storms off outside. So now T and Ben goes like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And it clicked like, I know. So it was Reg. He went back into the party. She went behind him next to him. She was like, Ben, no. Ben knocked the crap out of Reg into this table and knocked him unconscious. They ended up going to the hospital. But at the same time, Ben had to go to jail. So his parents had to come bail him out while Reg is in the hospital. And basically, his parents feel as if Kendra's a bad influence on him. And then once they left, the parents was like, listen, let's go. And Ben was like, are you going to make it home all right? She was like, yeah, okay, I'm good. Because T was with her. So after they leave, Ben and his parents are walking. And his mom says something to him. And he was like, no, this is what happened. He basically told his mom off. And the dad was rooting for the son. Like, listen, you do not care about anything I got going on. So how would you even know? Sets his mom straight. And he walks off. And the dad was like, yeah, So after that, Reg's mom wanted to press charges on Ben. So Kendra went to the hospital and was like, listen, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to do this. You need to tell the truth or whatever. So he was like, but I didn't want to, but mom did. So what? You going to make her believe you. So, and he was like, you could say thank you. She turned around with the quickness and it was like mushing his head and like, say thank you to what? No, I deserve this. Like, and he was like, okay, fine. So eventually the charges got dropped. She also applied to go to this other art program for photography because her teacher said her work is really good. So I felt like she was going to be bored by that. And she decides to apply. She basically gets in. Come to find out, Connie's outside crying somewhere, and she talks to Kendra. She was trying to apologize for everything. She was like, so who's the baby father? Connie's pregnant by Ben. So that's the end of their relationship again. So it's just like, they took one last picture together as Kendra get ready to go to Maddox, which is a photography program in Chicago. But she has to leave early, so now she has the summer program to work on. And now Ben has to worry about fathering his child. He decided, because his parents wanted them to marry. And he was like, no, I'm not marrying this chick. And he's like, listen, I'm just going to be there for my son. But, I love you and stuff like that. So they said their goodbyes the next day. She finished cleaning out her dorm room or whatever. They got each other gifts. He got her a new camera. She framed him a picture of the picture they took that last night. And that was good. He said her off goodbyes. Because he also taught her how to drive, too. So I want to put that out there. So now her sister's outside waiting for her. They give each other hugs and kisses. And, she gets in the driver's seat and she drives off. Yeah, I can't wait for next week's episode, which is the second part to this. Strength of a Woman. Y'all got to check it out on Lifetime. If you don't got the Lifetime TV app, everybody should check it out on the app. And, watch it. Like, I'm really surprised. I really hope that more artists would do more movies like this, turn their songs into movies, so that way you get a better understanding of the song, because everybody's searching for that real love. Trust me, everybody is. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.